So I'm prepared to see those movies, and I'm not prepared to listen in general to what the critics have got to say. I'll make my own mind up. However, that said, the fact that some of these rumors about what happens in Indiana Jones has been proven, and the fact that I really don't like that actress anyway, it's got nothing to do with her being a woman. It's got nothing to do with her political opinions. I just don't like her as an actress. Okay, I don't like her on screen. I couldn't get through any of Fleabag. I just turned it off. Mm-hmm. So that said, I'm not interested in seeing them destroy Indiana Jones. Yeah. So I'll give Flash and I'll give Black Adam a go streaming, but Indiana Jones is like, as far as I'm concerned, and I liked the Crystal Skulls. Okay, yeah, I'm one of the few people that likes it.
What she said to me, okay. What she said to me was. Well, not to me, but what she said that finished it off. I mean, I love Fleabag. I think it's brilliant. I think
you liked it, right?
Yeah, I think she's great. I think she's gorgeous. Mm-hmm. I've been learning about her political persuasions. I'm not siding with that. Well, that's up to her. That's her opinion.
Yeah, exactly. I don't care. Yeah.
But for someone to come on and start bollocking the audience like they are saying, her and that other woman, and to say that this one is better than the first three combined.
Do you have a word? I didn't know she said that.
Yeah,
that's
I haven't
incredible
seen that.
Arrogance. Incredible arrogance.
That's beyond arrogance.
And I'm not interested. Like I say, I thought Crystal Skull was okay. I enjoyed it. Like, I've got a very low bar. I understand that. All right, but
it was okay.
This one, I'm not going to go and watch simply because of what I'm not prepared to give it a chance, considering the kind of arrogance and the kind of rubbish that's been thrown about, and the fact that I haven't seen that there are proven aspects of it that I really don't want to see on screen. So, I don't want to see an old indie. I just, old. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to see a decrepit old man at the end of when he was a hero. I don't want to see that. So, not interested. Right? Yeah, it's depressing because it's all going to come. It's going to come to all of us. And the rest of us haven't been the heroes that Indiana Jones has been. So, there's no balance. Yeah, okay. I know you've been to the moon and stuff, but you know what I mean.
Have you seen the film clip of him giving his interview where the reporter there asks him why he takes his shirt off in the second scene and that he's incredibly hot?
Yeah.
Even at his age, he's he's cut and he's got
he's not incredibly hot.
No, in your opinion, no, he's not.
In my wife's
some ladies still find him incredibly attractive.
My wife's opinion. It's like, no, he's an old man. Back in. Stop it.
He's really good in 1923, but he's hardly in most of it. He gets shot.
This is not
within an inch of his life, and he's
for me,
in bed for a couple of episodes. But
it's not about Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
specifically, okay. Mm-hmm. It's not even about Phoebe Waller-Bridge specifically, except that I just can't. I don't particularly like her as an actress anymore than I particularly like other actors or actresses. Yeah. Okay, that really is just personal preference. Mm-hmm. My core is that I don't want to see Indy as an old man on the screen broken down. I'm just not interested in that, and I'm not interested in anyone, be it female or male, taking over from him either. I'm not interested.
Well, they're going to do it with Bond.
I don't want to know.
They've killed Bond, haven't they?
Well, I won't. I actually quite liked quite a lot of what Daniel Craig and the James Bond stuff was about. It wasn't quite James Bond, but it was good. I enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. Okay, like I say, low bar, explosions, love it. But that last film, I refused to watch because spoilers. Sorry, everybody, he dies at the end. Okay, James Bond does not die at the end of a Bond film.
And you know who wrote that?
It was her, wasn't it? I think she was involved in the script.
Was she involved in Han Solo as well?
I think she was, and she was the voice of the robot. So it's
I haven't seen any of that.
I'm sorry, but I don't want to see it. I don't want to see a Han Solo film where he's an old broken down man, and I don't want to see James Bond die at the end. Mm-hmm. Sorry, I just don't. So that nullifies the films. If there's anything else good in it, it's gone for me because those two aspects just mean that they're not those films anymore. So
I should have just left it as it was.
Just leave it. But that's the trouble, and we've got to wind this up because we've got to get onto Watchmen. But that's the trouble with entertainment in general. Is
we
that
don't have to get on to Watchmen.
There's so much money involved. There's so many bean counters and executive involved, and there's no chances taken. You don't get Star Wars without somebody taking a risk and making an error on the accounting. Do you know what I mean? Then you got a phenomena. But now it's all like, well, what things do we know worked in the past? Let's just mine them. But people get bored.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
It's like we're over it all. We love the originals. We want something new. Give us Would you
have a place? Would you have a place for replacing, say, Harrison Ford with another actor to continue? Age 35 or whatever.
If they did a young Indiana Jones Adventures, like they did with River Phoenix when they did Indiana Jones as a kid, I'd be all up for it.
What about him being 35 or 40 like he was when he first made it?
Yeah, and get someone in that looks a bit like him and just do a serial. Yeah, I'd watch that. Yeah, but don't usurp the character. Give us a new character. It's like no one complained about the fact that Ripley was the lead character in Aliens and all the Alien films. She was superb, fantastic actress and a fantastic character. I didn't care that she was female. She was the lead. She was the badass. Yeah. Do you know? And that's all that matters. It's not about whether female or male. It's a good character and something you believe in. But I would never want somebody to say, okay, we're going to do a new film now, and it's about Ripley's son, and he's going to take over and be the alien hunter. Or we're going to go back in time and we're going to make Ripley a bloke. Why would I want to see that? Why would I want to see that? So it's because a lot of the aspect of the core character is part of their gender, their sex, whatever. Okay. And it's part of their character. So make new characters, find a new Star Wars, make a new one.
Yeah.
Do something new, entertain us. Don't just keep mining the old stuff,
Yeah, that's exactly right. That would take imagination.
And imagination from the financial perspective as well. Sorry, Whiskey. It would take imagination from the financial perspective as well as the creative. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Whiskey.
I was saying you could even make a movie about what you just said, a movie about going back in time and making Ripley a dude, right? That's the whole premise of the movie. It'd be way more entertaining than.
Much more entertaining than Indiana Jones 5, 4, whatever it is.
Anyway, Watchmen 9.
Yeah, Watchmen 9.
Watchmen 9.
In all fairness, it was part of the original series.
Yeah, the only series as far as
the only series. Yeah. Oh dear.
Here we are. It's stuck again.
Again, as soon as the artwork comes out, there's just silence.
And there's that eye again on that thing. It's all all linked in, isn't it? Fabulous.
Look at the difference between the black and white and the color.
Yeah, I'm just looking at that.
Night and day.
That the way that he's inked that is almost
almost bare.
Yeah, but some of the line work has it's got a bit of I don't know who is it? I'm crap with names. We did him a while ago.
Simonson,
that's it. It looks a bit Simonson. That's really weird.
Looks a bit Mobius.
Yeah, just the loop and the long lines in there.
It's fabulous, isn't it? It's just wonderful.
I must have got something right there because Glenn agreed with me. Pulled the name out.
Quick passage of time.
Do. Very good.
This is the second two panels on the page. I was talking about this last week where he shows the different angles. That little story there. He showed it from a different angle. It was really clever because in the Gibbons book, I think he's got a schematic of that scene, so that he could get all the angles right. I think it's in there. I've seen it somewhere.
So you had to place all the characters in the box of the room. So
it's just like he's looking down. It's just a rough, it's just the positions of people, so he could get all those angles right. And he nails it, but you wouldn't really expect him not to, would you?
No. Well, I must be doing something right because I do similar things.
Yeah. You've literally got to think outside the box.
Yeah. You've got to think spatially.
That's right.
Yeah, it's not just about flat panels. It's thinking,
Well, this is it.
is.
Because we work in 2D and Whiskey works in 3D. We have to see people get confused with the perspective thing. They think that perspective is all lines and buildings and things, but it's not.
No.
It's the illusion of depth.
Yeah,
perspective, and that's what you have to master. That I think to make it believable. And obviously Gibbons knows exactly what he's doing with all that.
I'll show you some sketch pages at the end when we're done, which I've been fighting with that kind of stuff.
Right.
Simply to add interest, much like what Gibbons is doing here. It's creating 3D spaces and interest in each of the panels.
Yeah.
I'm working on a quick way to for layouts and stuff to lay down 3D maquettes, like in a 3D environment, so that they can be like turned into little scenes and panels and get all the perspective lines as a guide for the artists for the books we're working on.
Right. Are you giving your artist a full script?
I'm doing it storyboard page by storyboard page, kind of like what's going on with Watchmen.
So you're not allowing him to be very flexible then if you're telling him all that?
Depends on the scene.
Right.
Like some of it is like my drawings are very rough, so I'm like extrapolate, make this better, right? Other scenes I'm going to be like, I don't know what to do here to make this work. It's all you.
Right.
Here we have a camera rotation. Is that what you were talking about? Where
yes,
at half here, three quarters, and then straight on. Yeah,
but on the previous chapter, it showed it from a different angle, and I'm sure there's a schematic somewhere I've seen where all the figures are placed, so they can get the angles right.
I didn't see it, but that doesn't mean it's not there.
It might not be in that book. It might be in another one.
Yeah. And he's back on Mars. So is Laurie.
Fabulous. Look at that.
We're back to the tipping bottle again with a Z instead.
Yeah, Zorro. I'm glad to see that he's actually put the stars in on the sky, on the artwork.
Well, they're tilted. There's the couple of little comets going by. Follow that bottle.
That's the liquid.
That's the liquid, isn't it?
Yeah.
Liquid coming out the bottle.
That is. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
And that creates a spin motion.
Yeah.
It's very clever. Creates a spin motion, so you don't have to put action lines.
Yeah.
On stripe lines on there. Very clever.
It's great on that top tier there where the bottle is, and she's falling back. She's
tumbling.
She's tumbling at the same rate as the bottle's going over, isn't she?
Yeah.
Those left-hand panels, the bottom on the left-hand page, bottom two left-hand panels, just that little bit of light on the corner just above the landscape.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so nice.
And it's pointing towards them, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just great composition all around. It's a fabulous piece of work.
Please forgive me. Sometimes these things slip my mind.
Yeah.
Breathing.
It's a bit dodgy. It's a bit dodgy, those panels, aren't they? Or is that me?
I think it's you, dirty old man.
What do you mean?
I can't say.
Oh.
And then here the coloring on Manhattan for some reason is a dark blue.
Oh wow! Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it's a darker. Maybe that's from her consciousness. Maybe.
Yeah, that's the way she's seen it. Yeah, there's those lines above his head. Mm-hmm. That's her view is changing, isn't it?
Yeah, you see the little about ready to go out there.
It might where he's going darker there. It's probably because she's losing consciousness because she's run out of air.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Yeah. It could be also because she's running out of air.
I think she's running out of air.
It could be because there's no air on Mars.
Could be.
I wonder why they didn't do it in the previous panel. for the color?
Because you're seeing his perspective here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And here you're seeing it from her perspective, and she's about ready to lose consciousness.
Yeah.
That's something that pops out in the color.
Yeah.
And then he gives her air here. He goes, oh, sorry, forgot. Sometimes I don't remember you need to breathe. Yeah. Just takes it for granted. Like he's done this entire time. But anyway.
Yeah.
Huh.
Just a beautiful page, though.
Yeah, it's lovely, isn't it? These two pages are amazing. If you look on the right-hand page, the top 3 tier,
Really
the way
shiny.
Look at the way he's walking. He really is walking, and then he's going up the steps in the next one, and she follows him. But look at him. He really, and she's the way she's putting a shoe on and everything. And then if you just flick your eyes at him in those 3 panels, he really does move.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you just flick your eyes across,
Mm-hmm.
it's fantastic.
Just the whole ascent up the stairs.
And again, he does that great. If you look on the large panel on the right-hand page, that machine thing, if you look at the top, he's got that cross-hatching going on again, so nothing's actually solid black, and at the top and the bottom of the panel.
Lovely.
So shit, I'm on Mars. I always thought the pink was a little much.
Yeah.
On this, but again, in black and white, it really pops out. Its work is just beautiful.
Did you see those? Speaking of Mars, did you see those color adjustments that they've done? You know, it's like it's red.
Well, they figured out NASA was using a filter.
Yeah,
they've been doing that since Viking.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
The Viking pictures came back, and they went, "Oh no, that's far too blue. Let's make it red for the public." It's got a blue. It's got a vaguely blue sky.
Yeah.
But they still colour them red.
Well, it's the red planet, you see. So
and the ground is brown. You know.
Yeah.
Brown.
Yeah.
Brown.
I wonder what kind of mass hysteria there would be if they just stopped coloring things. You know, not art, but just things in general. Like, you know.
Well, they're afraid that there'll be a mass hysteria anyway because they touch up all of the photographs. They were professionals at airbrushing. They have artists that go through every picture that's released.
Yeah, like the black sky on the moonscapes.
Yeah,
and they're all touched up. Why?
I know this sounds conspiracy theory, but I think they're covering over a lot of relics up there.
Oh, and Android head on the side of the
There's a lot of art. There's a lot of architecture up there they can't explain.
You've been listening to Mr. Hogan.
Yeah.
Please explain.
Do you not know all this stuff?
I'm just saying I want Randy to go through the rants.
You need to throw yourself deeply into YouTube conspiracy theories.
No, there's square doors, there's towers on the moon and stuff that might have been caused by natural or unnatural occurrences that make questions that NASA, quite frankly, doesn't want to answer.
They never answer them. That's why they become conspiracies, because they never answer properly. There is a what is it, a 2 mile tall spike on the as we look at the moon, it's kind of like sort of on the edge as you go over the horizon line, and it was photographed by one of the early NASA missions. It's a really weird thing.
Yeah, all the really weird stuff gets cut out because they don't want people asking the wrong questions up there.
And all the pictures of the moon you've seen, where you see a horizon line, all the skies have been blacked out. No, I'm not suggesting any conspiracy here. I'm just saying I don't know why. Why do you need to black them out? I have no idea. So there you go.
See, this is why I hang out with you folks.
It's like that
Us
Files
kooky
episode
old conspiracy theories.
where the guy calls NASA and asks them why there's an otter in this one picture.
An otter.
Yeah.
Why is there an otter on the moon? What
Well,
about
he pulls up this picture and that they said was taken on either the moon or Mars, and it's actually off of one of their test sites.
Well,
and there's an animal laying down next to one of the rocks, and they're asking, well, why is that there?
It's supposed to. It was some kind of prairie dog. It was some kind of prairie dog.
Yeah,
and they saw it on the moon. It's like rat on the moon, rat on Mars, rat on Mars. And what it is it only this animal is only in one environment on Earth, and it's in this really desolate. I don't know where, I can't remember where it is, but it's a really desolate.
Pretty sure
area.
It's Canada.
And it's a big sort of desert. It's a big desert, and it looks just like Mars.
Yeah,
and they test their landers there.
Yeah,
so they're pumping out these images, and one of them turns up with this little prairie dog on it, and it's like prairie dog on Mars, and it's like no, they're lying.
Yeah, that's what it is.
They're lying to you. It's like with the moon. It's like I personally think. My gut is that they were there. Okay, They actually went. But also my gut is that they probably set up a complete duplicate on the Earth just in case they didn't get there. And that's why you have some weird photography out there that has no explanation, because they made the photography anyway. Okay. And didn't expect people to have Photoshop, because you wouldn't have thought about it back in those days. You wouldn't have thought people would be able to have Photoshop on their computers.
Yep.
And so I think there's a mix of real photography and fake photography out there. But the thing is if the American government admit that they were prepared to lie to the rest of the world, it's just as bad as if they admitted they actually lied.
Yep. And the funny thing about conspiracy theories, they usually turn out to be at least somewhat true. So
yeah, like labs in Wuhan. Whoops.
I keep telling the wife that book was written 6 months in by a reporter in Australia. We've just never seen that here. But they know all 6 of the patient zeros. They've known it for a long time.
Oh yeah.
They know the lab. They know the cave that they found the bat in. They all of that stuff. They just they're just now starting to go, hey, look at all this, and it's all like, yeah, that was out in a book about
whatever
2.5 years ago. Yeah.
I like bats.
Thanks for finally noticing. Yeah.
Like, what's the thing with the recent comedy sketch thing with, or not sketch, but I guess hangout with like Dana Carvey and the other guy?
No idea.
And they're like, well, they just did it recently, and they're finally starting to make like talk about COVID, and like it's like the celebrities and stuff are finally starting to talk about it, and they're like, yeah, it took you long enough.
Yeah. They're all muzzled just like the rest of us. And the difference is they get paid a lot of money to be muzzled.
Yep.
Muzzles are coming off now, I guess. So
yeah. Oh, mine never went on.
Enough time's gone by so that fewer people care. That's what it is. So they can talk about it.
Look at that reflection in the ball in the snow globe.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Just phenomenal.
Scary.
It looks like The Comedian, doesn't it?
I think it's supposed to be, isn't it?
Yeah, there's a similar the drawing further back in the series.
Because it's effectively checking out her costume. He's been a little bit pervy.
Right.
Well, the on this, all of the odd issues go back, all of the even issues go forward. So, or is it the other? No, this one goes back. Yeah. And now we're going back into Laurie's past. So that involves the comedian.
And her mother. Yeah.
And her mother.
Yeah. Her father, her mother and father.
Mother and father.
Well, yeah, spoilers. Not really her dad.
Yeah. Beautiful. Spotted blacks here.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Again, these are
line work there on the door.
These are not exciting This is not exciting content for any of the panels, and yet every panel is a looker. Every panel draws you in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's the trick. That's the trick, kids.
Yeah.
If you're out there, it's like, you know, I can't remember who it was. I was reading an interview with a guy who'd started drawing the Incredible Hulk, and he said, "Oh yeah," he said, "I thought, you know, this is it. This is my big chance. I'm drawing the Incredible Hulk. This is going to be absolutely fabulous."
Mm-hmm.
He said, "I spent the first half of one issue in a library." He said, "So I got to draw a lot of books and a lot of character work." He said, "But there was no Incredible Hulk smushing things."
Mm.
And it's like, you've got to be able to draw. His point was, you must be able to draw everything, and you must be able to draw it interestingly. You know, you'd like to keep the reader in there. So
must have been a script by Peter David. Same. Great stuff coming up this issue.
Beautiful shot.
Just amazing.
Is that bottle with the Z on it or the N on it, whatever it is?
It's an N, yeah.
And it's flying, and it's moved. It's done another more rotation, yeah.
Yep.
The lighting, for considering there isn't any serious shadow going on there, on that the big panel, the large panel, it still has amazing lighting on it. Incredible.
Just great here, yeah.
There's so much of that is making the mind work for the artist. That's just amazing.
Just an incredible job inking here. The thick to thin line work here, and the other line work on the workings of the Clock City. It's just amazing. You can sit and stare at that panel for a long time.
I think that's what's going on there.
Learn a lot. The little hints here, the reflection here. Just so much of it just works.
It just makes me want to go and watch the film again, and we only watched it last week for the same reason.
It's the snow globe dropping, shattering compared to the city. Oh, the city's moving at this point.
Yeah, I was trying to find some time to watch it this week and didn't get the time. It's gonna go on soon.
Yeah, and it's worth it just for the introduction, isn't it? It goes on for about 10 minutes. Intro. It's fantastic, isn't it?
Just the best intro to a film ever.
Ready? Here's a vertical panel.
Yeah.
Again, still working off of that 9-panel grid, but getting that point across so tremendously well. And the juxtaposition between the goblet here and the weight.
Switches scenes.
It looks like his arm, doesn't it? Looks a bit odd. Looks like he's holding that dumbbell.
Yeah, where he's finished his arm on that panel.
Yeah.
A bit weird.
What's he called? I can't remember the guy's name. DC's Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah. That's where the color.
Plastic Man or elongated man. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little jarring for the rest of the book.
Yeah, but it doesn't come through it when you see
the color. No. The color
breaks it up.
Yeah. And the other thing that color does do is when you have white gutters, it separates the imagery just that little bit better. Yeah.
This is interesting. You know, we were saying about when Manhattan gets angry, he goes darker. Well, you've got the actual comic there, haven't you, Randy? In the color. Well, I'm looking at the graphic novel, compilation thing, and he's a different color. In mine, he's that dark color on that page. You know, he's
Here you mean?
And the dumbbell on yours is sort of very, very purpley, isn't it? Grey purpley, and on mine it's blue.
Huh. I don't know why that choice is made. Well, other than the fact that it might tie back into Manhattan.
In the graphic novel,
what she
he's
wants
slightly,
to do to him, huh?
I think in the graphic novel, he's or in the trade paperback, I should say, he's slightly darker.
Yeah, it might be the printing.
It might just be the fact that it's the printing and it's an older comic you've got there.
Yeah.
Although it does vary, just slightly.
Well, so would the printing.
Yes.
Especially back during these days, you'd have differences in tone, depending upon where it was in the press run.
Quite a radical difference.
And we've seen the recoloring too. It's just almost as subtle as the first.
Yeah.
But again, I think that it works incredibly well for this product because you've got such a futuristic or such a realistic story, and you're dealing in old style coloring. Everything needs to be solid. Very rarely do you see a graduated tone. You get that graduated tone here on the cover because it's a different color or a different printing process.
Yeah.
And you're able to get that beautiful tone look.
Yeah.
Which is what they do.
Coloring like this. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm really fond of this stuff.
Yeah, like I say, I'm one way that either it's full on painted, or it's very simple colors on good black and white.
That's what I do with calico. Is I try to use a set base color, and then anything that's got a graduated tone to it is usually a magical effect, just to pull attention to it.
Yeah,
but everything is solid like this as much as possible.
I do have some effects, but they're all brush effects rather than and they're all solid brush effects, so they're not like graduated. There's no this is in Only Death. There's no like furring. There's hard lines to everything.
Yeah. Well, doing that in calico for me was a conscious choice.
Definitely, yeah.
I try to stay with very solid colors, unless there's a tight shot or an effect that needs to be done.
Yeah, I like that sort of kind of flat color. Russ, did you give when Mike was coloring Textone? Did you give him that instruction to do that?
No, I coloured Textone.
All right.
All Mike did was the front cover.
Oh, yeah, he did the cover. Yeah.
I coloured the whole thing.
Right.
So basically, the way that I went about it was I did flats, except the flatting was the actual colour that it should be, rather than just any colour in order to get the flats done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then all I did was apply a grey tone and a white tone for highlights and lowlights.
Yeah.
And then the odd special effect. And that was it.
Yeah, I misread there. Obviously, it says cover colours. I just thought it was Mike.
No, Mike. I mentioned it to Mike. He went, no. He says, I don't want to do colours like that. I like doing it my way. I said, oh, fair enough. I'll do my own. In the end, it worked out better that I did my own anyway. So,
here's the finished thumbnails.
Yeah,
from the making of book. So we see
lovely.
That. We don't have that coincidence line working here.
Right.
In that.
Well, no, because he had to make it all fit. He had to make the anatomy work.
Yeah.
So he took each individual frame to work there, or the three frames that have, a fair amount of Dr. Manhattan. He had to take as a set of three. So he would also have been completely aware, as the professional he is, that the colour would have made all the difference to that arm.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is just a thought I've just had. You know where Laurie is there, and she's solid black. Her costume is solid black all the way through. I wonder if that's the tie-in with Manhattan on the previous page being all blue, or is it just a coincidence? Because I think it works really well that she's got that black leotard on and she's just all black. There's no sort of definition in there.
He would always wear a black suit, wouldn't he? His black suit.
Exactly, yeah.
It also ties back to her black leotard that she wears underneath the see-through.
But then it's also a style thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
This is what's so good about this artwork and series, is that you can look at it a million times and always find something else.
Yeah.
And you might be wrong, and it might be a great idea that Dave Gibbons never had that he wishes he had. You know, it just the way he did it.
Just accidentally brilliant,
or something he did on instinct without even thinking about it. That's just the way it was going to be.
I think a lot of it is. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
yep. Yeah. He's just good, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Another great shot here.
Yeah. Just going back to that previous page, though, the first 6 panels there is what Russ was saying. He said a few times in this series that Gibbons' ability to take in a mundane, ordinary scene like this is like a little party type of thing. Yet he has to the artist should make every effort to make the panel interesting, to move it along, and it's not boring, is it?
No.
When you go through that, it's not boring at all.
It's so important to do that within your panels.
Yeah.
Unless the story demands you do something specific, you've got to generate flow.
Yeah.
So, and that means moving the camera about, moving the view around, so that it isn't just static. Otherwise, you get bored really quick with a comic.
Yeah.
Comic books are, in my view, are the best storytelling medium, but they're really easy to ruin.
Yeah.
They're really easy to get wrong.
Real easy to do wrong. Exactly.
Kind of like making breakfast.
Yeah.
Best meal of the day ever, but you can cock it up really easily.
Yeah, you've got to get it right.
Look at those. Look at the side of the rocks on the middle panel, the wide panel, the landscape. Just the way that you've got the shadow in there, creating the steps. It's just lovely.
Moves your eye along.
Mm.
And then down.
Again, that I think something like this is a wonderful example of economy of line.
Yeah.
It's not. It's just enough. It's just enough.
And again, that I think in black and white, it pops out so much more.
I think so. Yeah.
Than in color. Yeah.
You only need to put on the page, just the right amount of stuff.
Oh yeah. Economy of line, and it doesn't. You can look at any artist, any high level artist, and it doesn't matter how much rendering they put on, how detailed their work may be. Economy of line works for everyone because it's just a difference in style, but it means that every line you lay down has a purpose. Every line you put down has a reason, rather than just, shoving it on there to fill in a bit of space. And you can see that, like I say, it doesn't matter whether it's Mike Mignola or Jim Lee. Okay, they know every line that goes down means something, and it's economy of line, and that's why they're so bloody good.
Mm-hmm. And that's really a prelude to the next page. He really
wow!
Look at that.
That beautiful line work up here, on top of that beautiful line work here, and then the solids down below.
Shadow there, very nice.
Just beautifully done.
Again, lovely. We see the flipping of the two perspectives from top to bottom.
Yeah.
It's overhead.
Interesting that he's got clouds on Mars.
It's part of that atmosphere. In color, it's a little bit more garish.
No, what I meant was that there's not supposed to be any clouds on Mars, are there, other than the dust clouds?
There's an atmosphere up there.
Yeah, I know there is.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. That to have clouds, you need water.
Oh, yeah.
So
No, you don't. You need something that will
need some sort of chemical reaction up there.
You need something that will gas.
Yeah.
In that environment, but I know what you're saying. Yeah, there are clouds. Yeah. Weird.
Is that just from the city moving from before, from the previous section?
No, that's the atmosphere up there. This is the city is not making any type of
that could be a dust cloud on the bottom or anything there.
Yeah.
And it's a comic as well.
That's true.
You can get away with it.
This I think the picture works out a lot better in black and white. Just really.
I think the whole thing's better in black and white, to tell you the truth.
Oh,
yeah. In a lot of ways. I mean, some ways it adds to it, but the black and white is just phenomenal to look at. That is a whole different dimension to see it like that. Resentment of Lori's mom. Thinks the comedian's hitting on Lori. And we move to a 3-panel tier here. Or 3-panel page, I should say.
Yeah.
They're moving so much dialogue here.
Just, that Olympus Mons place, it's the highest mountain in the solar system. It's 15 miles high. It's 3 times the height of Everest.
Yeah.
And somebody's going to climb up there one day. You know what I mean? It's going to take them about 4 years to get to the top.
Probably short little leaps. So, yeah.
What's the, if anybody could hazard a guess, what's the significance of the spiky bits on the city? Like, why that design decision?
Why the spires?
Yeah.
No idea. Anybody?
I think they just, I don't know, but I think I always got the impression they were just sort of some kind of design like minarets on a building.
Yeah.
And it ties in with the clock, doesn't it? The timepiece.
Yeah.
He's a watchmaker, isn't he?
Clock.
He's a watchmaker, isn't he? And he gets zapped. Mm-hmm. So it's I think it's to do with the precision of that clock.
I don't know. Could be.
But I don't know. That's just my opinion. He probably explains it in his book. It's great panel there on the left page where she's looking back at him in the cab. Yeah.
She's putting together her mother's hostility.
Yeah.
The reason behind her mother's hostility. Up here, comedian says, Christ, we were just talking. Can a guy talk to his, old friend's daughter? I mean, what do you think I am? And she comes back here and says, I know what you are, Edward Blake. I've known what you were for 25 years, and don't you ever forget that. Get in the car, Laurie. And she puts that piece together, face right here. Realization.
It's damn fine work.
And it all came pouring out.
That's just very clever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's so much of this in here.
And then you get the same panel, don't you, so to speak, where she's looking at a mum and then she's looking at Manhattan. It's the same
juxtaposing there. Yeah. Yep. It's their pain, her fears, her whole life, ordinary people, right? All the things that happen to them. Doesn't that move you more than a bunch of rubble?
It's just the storytelling, the scripting there.
No.
To get to the point where, and it all came pouring out. so that the bottle
It's
is
upside
pouring
down,
out. But it's not just about saying, okay, we'll pop those in. You've got to remember there's this 9-panel grid going on here. It's knowing every beat that's going on, and to pop those, I think it was only 3 or 4 images in the last 5, 6, 7 pages where the bottle was.
Yeah.
And he started the whole thing with the bottle on the splash page. Just bloody brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yep. I've got another coffee. I'm going to have to get a chocolate biscuit.
It has to be chocolate. Can't be anything else but chocolate.
He explains to her that it's all just atoms to him. All he sees is bits moving.
Incredible. I just counted incredibly on page 17, and that bottle only appears 5 times.
Yeah.
And you think it's more, don't you?
Yeah.
And it's generally...
Well, there's all that. There's so much symbolism in between, though. You know, the guy spilling his drink onto the floor. There's so much of that working in this.
Some beautiful inks on the
pouring of drink,
page.
The drink in the goblet. Yeah.
I'm back. Biscuit in hand.
Yeah.
Hey, Russ, you look at the first page there in the second set of panels on the right, or the middle panel right. What's your thoughts on the inking there on the that one?
That one.
Just great.
Excellent lighting. Again,
I
mean, there's so much good lighting in this.
It's kind of washed out in the color version, but it stands out very starkly in the black and white.
Forced perspective.
Beautifully done. Yeah.
So his perspective isn't 100% correct there, but it doesn't matter. What he's done is he's forced it so that it works for the panel and still doesn't, jolt the eye. Very clever.
To a solo silhouette as opposed to a couple grabbing each other. Ready for the next ones?
Yep.
Go for it, Randy.
Back to the spires again, and then another fantastic bird's eye view shot.
Come out.
A lot of dust moving around.
So what if, look at the color in this page. What if it wasn't clouds in the previous panel, but a reflection of the ground?
Not sure what you mean.
So we talked about clouds in the previous panel in the air because there's no clouds on Mars, allegedly. Or not, like a little while ago, not this thing, but we looked at the color for this one. What if it's not clouds so much as the sky is a reflection of the ground? Like a mirror image.
Could be.
You see here the less. I think he slows the city down here because the clouds here are getting larger.
Oh, there is.
The closer he gets to the mountain.
Yeah.
And then here they start thinning out a bit.
Look at the ink work on that large panel. Look how the ink work on the thing that's closest to us
here,
and the way that he changes his line weights.
Yeah.
In order to do that, that's only black and white. There's hardly any black on the page. Okay, this is what I'm talking about: economy of line, and yet with just the right weights changing of the lines, you can tell that that's so far in front of what you're looking at in the background. Yeah. Here you go, kids.
It almost looks like a nose and a face here.
Yeah, I was going to say there's like it's got teeth there, isn't there? Wait.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Little nose and an open mouth here, and kind of like a gritting, teeth here.
Yep.
Now you're seeing things.
It really it really pops out in color. You can really see it a lot more when you see it in color. because of the way the shading is done here. Probably reading more into it than what was meant, but yeah.
That's a lovely page. That panel. It's a lovely panel.
Yeah.
Do you know? I like the way he doesn't, when he does that panel, which is effectively 6 little panels, isn't it? You know, the space.
Mm-hmm.
He never. I don't think he ever does a full page panel. There's a few things.
The
covers, yeah.
Well, the cover's the cover, isn't it? I'm talking about inside. He never does a full page, as far as I remember.
No.
He breaks it down, and I think the temptation to do, say, that panel as a full page, must have been almost overwhelming for him. But because he's obviously disciplined and he knows what he's doing, or maybe he's been told.
I think he's been told.
I think he was told in the script, because the scripts on these were incredibly tight.
This is Alan Moore we're talking about.
Yeah, it is. But it's interesting here to see the dust clouds here, the dust clouds here on the city, and then juxtapose it with the smoke on the cigar.
That's great. Yeah, the way it flows through the 3 panels.
Flows right through.
I think even to talk about that, Glenn, even Alan Moore would have had, because he's got some visual skills as well.
Yeah, he does.
He would have. He might have thought, splash panel, but if he's writing it in a certain way where he never wants one, then he's aware of that, and so it kind of nixes the artist's instincts to a degree.
And here in black and white, you can see the set of coincidence lines working between those 2 panels, and yet in the color version, it's broken up.
Yeah, it's broken in the color version, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so much more obvious in the black and white. But that I think that was intended, just to keep the flow going, the smoke, changing the scene. Because you have that visually a lot. If you get to see the director's cut for Highlander, and I can't remember the director's name, but he went on to do a couple other really big films. But there's so many beautiful transitions from scene to scene by a simple movement or a bit of coincidence, or just the camera moving up. You're in and suddenly you're in the past, that kind of thing. But you're seeing the scene switch here, kind of the same way.
So often,
almost cinematic.
Yeah, so often films are ruined in the edit suite, and that's not even a criticism of the film editors, because they've got to do certain things. They're under restrictions. They have to take out things for time and all the rest of it. They're doing a hard job, but it's not the director's original vision.
Yeah.
And so it's really nice to see those directors' cuts on quality films.
I think that's more the production, isn't it? Because any good director will sit with his editor, because the editor might not like a sequence and it might be the most important piece, like the unicorn in Blade Runner. The Lad Company executives had Ridley Scott take out that sequence with the unicorn, and that is the film.
Yeah,
that is the film.
Yeah,
that sequence is the film, and so he would have been sitting with the editor. Going through it, and that would have been, and when they saw that cut, because they didn't get it, because they forced them that stupid voiceover thing, because they didn't, because people can't watch for more than 10 seconds without being told what's going on.
Well, in the minds of the Hollywood executives,
I mean, all anybody ever spoke about was the fact that the cop left the unicorn
piece behind the origami.
Origami. I mean, that was it wasn't the speech. I mean, Rutger did an amazing performance at that point, and it was important, and as a performance, it was great. But like you say, everyone was talking about the origami unicorn anyway. So
beautiful bit of cinema,
which just goes to show that the subtlety got through.
Yeah.
So it would have worked.
Well, the best way, I think I've got the best copy of Blade Runner, and that's in a box set that's got 5 different cuts of the film.
Yeah, I've got that one. Yeah.
Good Lord, that's serious.
It's just amazing to sit there and see the comparison between all of them. And when I went to see Blade Runner, the director's cut that didn't have the voiceover at the theater, and it was a completely different movie.
Yeah. I hated that voiceover when I first saw it. It was the real Mickey Spillane type of thing, wasn't it?
Well, I like that kind of stuff, though.
Yeah, but not on that.
Yeah. I thought it made, in that version of the film, it made that film, but it wasn't the version that Ridley Scott had meant to everybody to see. Two pages of party conversation with a spinning bottle. And back to Mars, continuing that conversation.
Let him have it again. Fantastic placement.
See that guy in the center panel who's laughing with the cigar in his mouth?
Mm-hmm.
Is that G. Gordon Liddy?
No, I've never drawn that comparison. It doesn't look like him to me, but that.
No, but if you read about what they're talking about, the post reporters they found in the garage, that's Woodward and Bernstein.
That piece in the Berkeley Barb. Well, I guess you smoke enough weed, you can imagine almost anything. Now I'm clean, guys. I just don't ask where I was when I heard about JFK. Yeah.
He was the shooter on the mound or whatever it is on the grassy knoll.
Yeah.
The comedian was supposed to be that shooter, wasn't he?
In the film.
In good. Dick will love it. You know, Ed, you're okay. Somebody a guy can relax with, not giving everybody the creeps like goddamn Mr. Spock over there. Huh?
That bottle again.
We've gone silent again.
Yeah, I'm reading the dialogue. You know, your mother was a peach. She goes, is that what you told her before you tried to rape her? Before you hit her? Before you kicked her? That isn't the way you treat peaches.
I even got to the dialogue yet. I was still stuck on the suits. I'm looking at the lines of the suits and trying to figure out how they're all, so casually together, and just been sitting there staring at the guy's elbow for like 10 minutes.
I love the fact that he doesn't care that it's all black.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He's not putting on white lines or anything to pick out the different figures.
No,
it's just a mass of black.
Yep.
And you don't.
What's
it works. Brilliant.
What's the color look like? I just want to see a comparison to see if it helps.
Pretty straightforward.
It's pretty straightforward still. I guess there is a slight
lighter. You get lighter tones here, though, except for in her hair, in order to pop that black out. Who would have thought to throw yellow back here in the background all the time? Because it's that stark contrast between that and the blacks. That's your largest contrast in colors between yellow and black. I think that would be a conscious coloring decision. A little bit of red added here to make the orange as she's driving her point home. And then here, when he realizes what she said, she's solid red back here. And then yellow behind the comedian.
Right through the different moods.
Yeah.
Look at that rant there. Damn straight. I do. She goes on and, force her to having sex against her will. And he says, only once. Like, that's okay. Oh, that's all right then.
Yeah.
Scumbag.
Major scum.
Then back to the spinning bottle after the
smelling
douchery.
Yeah. The douchery on the douche. Yeah.
What's that called when you go through like, the like exposition, I guess? Is that the right word?
Juxtaposition or
no, I don't know.
the exposition is the explaining.
Yeah. Because they're using the visual story medium of the moods and the colors to get the emotion across.
Yeah.
I just don't remember what it's called.
I don't know the term of it. I was going to say we've been ignoring the chat, but the chat is only Levi. Levi,
Chat's
you're doing well.
Us.
Yeah, chat's been ignoring us. Good morning, all. Enjoying the conversation live again. Yeah. Thanks for listening in, Levi. Appreciate you very much.
That's a great line, isn't it? Where she says, "Had 7 scotches inside me, 1 in my hand. I let him have it." Brilliant.
It's great.
Depends how you put the emphasis on, I let him have it, or I let him have it.
The bottle continuing its orbit, and the more liquid coming out. It's just brilliant.
What's she throwing out? Is it from the book? What is it she's throwing? Oh, it's whiskey. A Spectre on it. No, on the bottom panel she's throwing like files away.
Then you came and you were angry and you took me home. It was the first time you ever teleported me anywhere. First time I threw up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a mother's clippings, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a book. Yeah.
So somebody will find those on Mars in 200 years' time, and they'll suppress it.
Unless ammonia or something eats it away.
Why bother telling you all this? It just confirms things, right?
Martian slugs will eat it.
Like wretched, grubby little human encounters. Better off without them. None of it ever meant a damn thing anyway.
The lizard people will collect it and then make their own scrapbooks.
Yeah, pretty much. People. I mean, my mother's clippings, their whole life right there. What's it mean? In your terms, next to a neutrino, next to something you can't even see, for Christ's sake, it means nothing. It's pointless debating when you obviously don't see anything terribly miraculous in life. Maybe quantum physics doesn't allow miracles. No thermodynamic miracles are. Oh, for God's sake, just land this thing now.
Look at the lighting on that panel, the uplighting. You can see it better in colour on the panel before of the spaceship or the machine. Look at the lighting on it. Like you're in the valley.
Yeah.
Where it's gloomy and the sun is over there and it's just brilliant. It's not right. Fabulous.
Some beautiful ink work here.
Yeah.
Again. The great key page. Here you get the same expression.
Yeah.
Again, you're back. He's landing. Another 3/4 page shot, beautifully done.
Look at the way the sunrise is coming over as well. You can't see it. You see it better in the colour one. And the sun is over the horizon.
Yeah.
Like dawn,
Yep.
It's fabulous, that, isn't it?
And here you're getting a little bit more tone work too in the color.
Yeah, he's good, that John Higgins, isn't he?
Yeah.
Unsung on this, isn't he?
Chat's open, folks. Don't be afraid to chime in. We're back to that face again here too.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out the reflections on the thing.
On the machine.
On the city here, yeah.
I like the way he's behind and she's going downstairs, and then when she gets to the bottom, he's there.
Yeah.
That'd drive you crazy, wouldn't it?
I think that's part of the story. Yeah. Like with the first time that you see the two of them together, he's split himself into 3 people or 4 people.
Yeah.
It's all that stuff.
Beautiful ink
Test your
weights.
sanity.
Beautiful ink weights on that main panel.
Yeah.
Just in and out, different weights on the clouds and the rock in the foreground, and just brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. And the key here is knowing what not to put in.
Mm-hmm.
Right there. Let John handle that in the colors, just like the cover.
So I was talking about it before, but if you look at the sky now, the absence of clouds.
Yeah,
it's reflecting the.
Oh, they're there. They're just black. Yeah, there's clouds, a few cloud lines in there. Or is that scenery back here? That scenery, mountains.
I think that's horizon, and then then on top of that is a reflection of the ground. I think I'm speculating. See, Bob Ross would know. He does all kinds of landscape.
I think Bob would say it was a happy little accident.
Yeah.
We got a happy little rock there, a happy little cloud. There's no happy little trees because this is Mars.
And he'd use a putty knife to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched him paint yesterday. Just incredible.
I was watching that about 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
He has a whole channel now on Pluto. They run his show 24/7.
You're kidding? That's great. We've got a couple of channels here that run old shows and stuff, and he was on yesterday. It was just he did this old barn in a snowy forest.
Mm-hmm.
Just brilliant.
And you sit there and you're stunned because, like I said, he's using this putty knife, and you go, you wouldn't use that for
brushes.
that.
Yeah, these massive brushes.
Right there, yeah.
This is brilliant. It's brilliant.
This is what you need to show proper leaves. Smash, 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 smash. Just greatness.
Look at that face again on that bottle.
Mm-hmm. Juxtaposed with the face there.
And looking back again at the
those points in time that happen all at once for Dr. Manhattan.
He sees everything through the lens of quantum, so there is no time.
Yeah, everything happens at the same time. He's on the same level everywhere. It must be really boring, mustn't it? Because he's already a million years in the future and a million years in the past.
Yeah,
he's like God, isn't he?
Cut and paste here on those panels. It's the exact same. It's the same inking on both of them, or on all of them.
No, he got to sleep that day.
Moving at a fast clip. Same with this panel here, and here in the coloring, straight on, pretty solid. And then when you get to the memory here, that scar, it's brought out pretty harsh.
Yeah.
A lot of nice little streak of red right there. Point that out in the colors.
Do you think that Manhattan would go mad, like, or like just existing as in every? You get so bored, like you're saying.
I think in a way he does.
He becomes removed. That's his story.
Very removed. Yeah.
That's his arc.
I don't think he's mad. I just think he's empty.
Yeah, he becomes
Yeah.
so removed from humanity, which is what this aspect of the story is all about. The fact that he finds that actually, even the fleeting lives of humans are important because of the choices that they make. There's actually there's a huge amount of depth there, but just on the surface of his story arc, it's a great arc.
Sorry, Whiskey, go ahead.
He exists in every time, right? But he doesn't exist in every place, does he? So he doesn't know everything. Just what he sees or experiences.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think he does know, because he says, doesn't he? I'm already on Mars or something.
He knows where he's going.
Yeah.
And from a quantum perspective, the time is something that is just entropy. It's just the way that we perceive the one moment after the other. But from a quantum perspective, everything happens at once. If you were a photon, there is no time.
Yeah, you're everywhere, aren't you?
You're everywhere because they travel at the speed of light. So there is no time. If you're riding on the back of a photon, there is no time.
Yeah.
So it's pretty weird stuff.
So it's up in the air that he knows absolutely everything?
No, because I think what he does is he tries to partition his human self from the fact that he is omnipresent, which is why he becomes detached. Because you can't do two things at once. You can't be that human and be omnipresent, because you wouldn't be human anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Each story is about the human condition, I think.
Yes, I've got to say that what we're seeing in this sequence is obviously Manhattan is very detached and very shallow, very empty. And so is the comedian, because he's a rapist and a murderer. Yeah. He has no feelings. He has no empathy.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. And Manhattan and Dr. Manhattan doesn't care. He doesn't not care. He just doesn't care. It's nothing. Yeah. There's no emotion.
Yeah. It's for two separate reasons. One, because there are obviously no excuses for the comedian's actions, but his life has been just hate. And that's why he doesn't care. Whereas with Dr. Manhattan, he's just removed. And yes, it makes them both monsters for different reasons. You're right.
That's right.
It's very true.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, though, Manhattan has the unfortunate experience. If he is not just omnipresent, but like also omni or whatever, knows everything, and right?
Yep.
He's had the unfortunate experience of running through every single Disney flick.
I think
no wonder he's empty now.
I think what it is that it's not that it doesn't actually know everything. It's not all in his head.
No.
But he can pass through it.
Yeah,
and experience
like connected to it. Yeah, that's the way I see it as well.
Because his head would pop if he knew everything.
Yeah,
he'd crash. His computer would crash.
And again, he would no longer be human. But that's part of his arc, isn't it? The fact that he's slowly withdrawing from being human at all.
Yeah.
And that's why he talks about, I don't think there's a God. I don't think there is one, because I'm kind of feeling everywhere at once, as it were. And
the thing is, as well, is that what's good about it is that he's actually growing, isn't he? Like people do. Like you're a baby and you learn to walk and all those things, and we do all these things. And if we have a long enough life, we hopefully get a lot done, and that's what he's doing. So if you imagine, I've said this before in a different way. About opportunity. There's an opportunity to do anything you want. You just have to recognize it and then decide whether you want to do it, and then get on with trying to achieve it. And that's what he's doing. But he's growing as an entity and becoming more detached.
And then so he detaches himself, but then the realization, the perception of what it is to be human.
Yeah.
And that whole he uses the story of her mother being raped, and it came to create her, and how unique she was, and how much he loved her, and just that story, that line of coincidence, if you were, that makes it. And it's just that's the thing that he can't understand. He understands everything, but he can't understand that, and that's why that's what brings him back to being sort of partly human.
And the human part of him is trying desperately to hang on to Laurie, That's it. That's his link. She's the only thing he cares about.
Yep.
It's very clever. Very
Oh, it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant writing. This is a literary
masterpiece.
Yeah. I was like, Dave's in the chat. Hey, Dave.
Yep, Dave's in the house. Glad you're watching us, Dave. He says that he's tired of the look at the old loser and this awesome young, strong young woman who is much better. LOL trope.
Yeah.
It's just tropes. That's the whole point. It's that trope at the moment. It's been other tropes in the past. It's a lack of creativity and a lack of ability or want to take risks. Nobody takes risks anymore.
I think with this also,
they're not.
With this also, it's a matter of context, Dave. This is you didn't get this kind of material.
I think he's talking
comics
about
back in the 80s.
Yeah, I think he was talking about what we were talking about earlier, the films.
Okay.
I think he may have skipped through, and I think that's maybe what he's talking about, the films that we mentioned earlier on, so rather than this book.
That just popped up in my conversation.
Yeah, but I wouldn't surprise.
But it is after Levi, so I thought it was weird. Yeah. Just getting it now.
This book, like we've talked about this before, but this book is not safe in that sort of, they wouldn't publish it today kind of sense. Or
they would. It was books like this that paved the ground for other, books to follow it. Not nearly as good.
Sorry, go ahead.
What I like about this book is it just really shows you the dirt under humanity's fingernails.
Yes.
And all different kinds of.
And that was intentional. That through the eyes of deconstructing superheroes, it's something that more used in order to get that to really drive that point home.
I think that. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think that I think probably unconsciously, as most things are, I think he's done to comics with this piece of work what Michael Jackson did to dance. Nobody's moved on since 1983 when they all dance like Michael Jackson.
Very true. Yeah.
Right. And it's the same.
They try at least. Yeah.
They try, but they can't do it.
They can't do it. Yeah.
And that's what Moore's done. When was Thriller? 83, and this is 87. So it's the same.
87. Yeah.
It's the same time. And what Alan Moore has done through his writing genius, I think, is he's stopped the medium. It's like beat that, and you can't.
Yeah, and what people have tried to do is people have tried to beat it. People have tried to emulate it instead of just carrying on. There was There's nothing wrong with the Defenders versus Avengers war. There's nothing wrong with the Spider-Man Black Costume saga. Okay, there's nothing wrong with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They're all great. No, they're not Watchmen. It doesn't matter. Not everything has to be and that's what happened. You got the Killing Joke, you got the Dark Knight Returns, and you got this. Okay, and everybody thought, they were told comics must be like this now. Okay, and it's like, no, they don't. They shouldn't be like this. No. They shouldn't all be like this.
Yep.
Okay, this is standout. Okay, this is fantastic. This is Shakespeare of his time as far as comics.
Exactly.
It's like, don't try and beat this. You're not going to.
Beautifully done. Yeah.
People use it as like a marketing scheme, like nowadays. I was talking to a gentleman on a live stream recently, and he's promoting this book, and I was like, we're doing this whole walkthrough of Watchmen, and he's like, the book is like Watchmen, and I'm like, I asked the question, like, how is it like Watchmen? Like, how is it? Because we're doing this version. I was excited to hear his response, and then I just kind of fumbled over his words a bit, and then skipped the question, and then was on to the next.
Right.
You should not, in my view, you should never have a marketing line. Your elevator pitch should never reference other people's work.
Yeah.
You shouldn't say, it's like if you were to cross Batman and James Bond.
Yeah.
Well, then in that case, I've seen it because I've seen Batman and James Bond. I want something different, which is why when I had my elevator pitch for my Only Death Can Save Us series, I mentioned that it was the way comics used to be. Okay, it's fun, it's exciting, it's drama, it's this, it's that. But I never said, oh, it's like this. It's a bit like, I have lots of influences in Only Death Can Save Us. A lot of it being the Jim Starlin Chaos Cube stuff, Cosmic Cube stuff, and all that kind of thing. Lots of cosmic nut job stuff. All right, I love it. Okay, but I didn't reference it in my elevator pitch, and never would I, because my work needs to stand on its own. Okay, and so if you turn around and say my story is like X story, it's like, well, I've already read that. Why do I need to read yours?
You're dead right, Russ, because do you remember that TV advert not long back with the car where they closed the door and it said it sounds just like a BMW or something? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And they were showing how stupid the BMW guy was. Not the BMW guy. I can't remember what car it was. And we're closing the door. He said it sounds just like the other car, like a better car. Do you remember that advert? Yeah. And that's what you're saying, isn't it? Where they make it, but they were making the reference in the right way. Yeah.
They were making it so like, okay, you can. That's because that was all about value. That was all about financial value. It's like it sounds just like that car over there, but it's cheaper. Okay, it's just as good. That's value reference. But creativity reference is like, well, you just lose all your value of as far as creativity is concerned if all you're saying is it's like something else.
Yeah.
Well, why? Well, in that case, I'll just buy the other thing. You know, like I say, if you say, oh, it's like Batman crossed with Spider-Man, it's like, well, I'll just buy Batman then, because I know that Batman's really good.
Yeah, well, they did that with the Tarkovsky film, didn't they? On Solaris, they said it was the Russian or the Soviet 2001.
Mm-hmm. Well, then I won't watch it.
I've seen 2001.
Yeah, I've seen 2001, and it's in English.
Yes,
I can understand it.
But if you watch Tarkovsky's Solaris, it's nothing like 2001.
No, exactly, and it's a disservice to Solaris to say that that's what it is. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but that kind of marketing on a creative perspective never works, in my view. Never works. No. And back to what you were saying, saying like comics stopped in 83 because of, or 87 or whatever it is, because of this. Yeah. And it wasn't that it stopped comics. It's that particular evolutionary line of comics was at an end. It had reached its pinnacle. But it doesn't mean that all the other lines aren't still open. It doesn't mean that you can't still create stuff just as good, but in a slightly different way.
See, I think that if this piece of work, from a writing point of view, isn't a comic, it's a piece of literature. It's just in a comic format.
Yeah. Yep.
And I think that was proven when Snyder made the film.
Yeah. But it's like saying, okay, you can't beat Shakespeare, so C.S. Lewis would never have
That's right, exactly right.
It's like you can't stop there. It's just that you don't try and beat Shakespeare. Be a C.S. Lewis or be an Ian Fleming, but do something different. Don't try and be Watchmen. Be your own thing.
Yeah,
okay? It doesn't mean that Watchmen isn't the pinnacle of that particular type of genre within comics, and it is, I believe. It's a fantastic story, and it's difficult to beat. Okay, if you look at the more recent things, like Heroes in Crisis in DC, and I suppose that was trying to be this kind of intense level literature, and it was awful. It was just depressing.
Yeah, I was going to say, and failing miserably.
Failing miserably. It had some beautiful artwork in it, by the way. But it was depressing and crap. It's like, don't stop it. Stop. Just, do something else. Don't try and be somebody else. Do something else. Be inspired. That's great.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah.
It's not pizza, right? You don't have to drive home consistency for every single slice.
No.
You're a Subway sandwich, right? You put whatever the hell you want on it.
You don't have to have pineapple on it unless you want to.
No, but it's okay. If it's wrong. Yeah. It's wrong. I understand, but it's okay.
Yeah. I would never have pineapple on my pizza. But I understand.
Here we're reaching the total climax for this issue. As she takes the nostalgia bottle and throws it, and it tumbles.
And you realize that all this time you've been seeing something that happened at the end of the issue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
as it
like,
smashes, so does the
so the fact
tower.
that he's written the issue in this way, where it's skipping backwards and forwards,
Mm-hmm.
right to the very present, where she's thrown the bottle, and that was the first image you saw at the start of the episode.
Yeah,
underpins the way that Miss Dr. Manhattan thinks and sees the world.
right.
And it's also clever the way that it's upright again.
Yeah.
It's completed one revolution, and it's just, and then it smashes.
Smoosh.
And it brings it down.
That's impressive. Those 3 panels are super impressive. Do you know what? That's you can say to me, okay, well, can you draw a horse, or can you draw this street scene? And it's like, okay, yeah, I'll get it done. Yeah. But can you draw a collapsing building? That's really hard.
It's me,
really hard.
In my context, my point of view, this really reminds me, and it had a big effect on my youth, was the Barry Windsor Smith's adaptation of Tower of the Elephant by Conan, or with Conan, where the crystal tower comes falling down. That's what this brought to my mind.
Yeah.
That it's something from my experience, my context. I draw that connection, but nobody else would. Just seeing the great panel in that where Conan's turning and watching the tower just come crumbling down at the end of the story. But
it's great. Yeah, it's great the way she goes down to her knees as well.
Yeah,
and he just stands there on those 3 panels.
And now in the next page, we get this beautiful emptiness.
Desolation. Yeah.
And that
desolation,
that Mr. Smiley photograph is on Mars as well.
Yeah.
And
I remember reading in an interview that Moore said that was a happy coincidence.
Yeah.
He stumbled across that and did to fit right in.
That eye, I think that's the rock that you saw in the foreground in the large panel on the left.
Those are the walls, aren't they? The ridges.
If you go back a couple of pages, you go back a couple of pages. Go again. There, left-hand panel, big panel. That's one of the eyes. That's impressive.
Very likely. Yep.
Just
fantastic,
superb.
isn't it?
Broadcasting for forecasting. And again, you could stare at that sequence for hours.
On this next page, the top sequence there, where it's the movement again, it's the same shot. The top layer, it's the same shot, but 3 different panels. And the way he's walking, and then she's there, and looking back, and the feet, the
camera pulls back, the camera pulls back. Yeah, just amazing.
And it's great the way that the machine has crashed, and it's nearly hit the eye, and it's like the blood, isn't it? On the it's fabulous. And
then here in the annotated version, they include a photograph.
Photograph of the actual crater.
The crater.
You know that's the universe fucking with you, don't you?
No, it's probably a fake.
It's lizard people, you know that.
Yeah.
They're like going, "Hey, they like this image. Here, drag your foot or get a stick. Let's drag this.
Drag your tail. Drag your tail.
Yeah, drag your tail. That's it exactly. Make it a big smile. Though it'll freak them out when they look at it hundreds of years later. Yeah.
And it's great the way he's drawn. It's either Phobos or Deimos, one of the moons of Mars, going around there as well. Yeah. Fabulous.
And the camera keeps pulling back on the last page.
In fact, just go back. In fact, he's actually drawn both. He's got the one in the foreground. He's got one in the left.
Oh yeah, I see it behind him.
Yeah, because Mars has 2 moons, as you know, and he's drawn them both there. Fabulous.
That's more than 2, doesn't it?
No.
2 captured asteroids.
We keep finding more and more all the time.
Or
all
if
Mr.
Hogan,
never
Mr.
see.
Hogan were to be believed, one of them is an ancient starship that has been clogged up with dust and stuff. Have you ever seen the picture of the not monument. What
The
was it
face.
in 2001? The
mon-
obelisk. That's
The,
it.
the monolith.
The monolith. That's it. There's a monolith on Phobos, I think.
Yeah.
That's a fantastic picture of it casting a shadow.
Yeah.
It's a cool thing.
It's just it's just a trick of the light.
No,
It is.
It's
Yeah.
not.
No,
It's a real thing. And
No,
you had,
I'm being sarcastic.
oh, I see. Sorry. And they had Buzz Aldrin on talking about it.
Yeah.
And he was on the breakfast show. This must be like maybe 10 years ago now. And he's like, "I tell you where you need to go. You need to go up to Mars again. There's a big monolith up there, and you got to take a look at it."
I think they've already been.
It. Nobody ever heard of him again.
Yeah, I think they've already been and had a look at it. Just not telling you.
Yep.
Look at that.
Beautiful ink work here on this, the starkness of the planet, the shadow, the after shadow here. Yes, it doesn't look nearly as impressive on the comic because of the coloring again.
He's also got that massive scar where that other moon has crashed, hasn't he, in the middle there? It's something like 6 times as long and 3 times as deep as the Grand Canyon, that rill. Yeah. And it's supposed to be on the bottom panel on the Mars drawing.
There?
Yeah,
right there.
There's a giant scar on Mars where they think a moon's crashed.
Yeah, they thought it was a canal to start with the first time they looked through. Yeah.
Or if you look at there's some more stuff for whiskey. Go look up the electric universe. That's pretty good. The idea is that all the filaments across the stars and everything, it's all down to electromagnetism. And they reckon something got really close to Mars, and it was like static electricity, and it basically drilled a complete gash across the face of Mars. But there's also a theory that because Mars is oddly shaped apparently, and it's the kind of shape that you only get when you're tidally locked as a moon. Mm-hmm. So the idea is, and there's lots of scientists that say no, there's not enough mass in the asteroid belt for it to have been a planet that's come apart. But there are arguments to say that there is, and the argument is that there was, because our solar system doesn't have a massive Earth like a giant Earth, and most solar systems have a massive big rocky planet, and so the theory is that Mars was actually a tidally locked moon of a giant Earth out near the asteroid belt, and it came apart, and that's where the asteroid belt has come from. And that when whatever happened to this planet happened, it scarred one side of Mars. And actually on one side of Mars, it's substantially less surface than on the other side of Mars, like something's hit it on one side. Mm-hmm. So there's lots of wacky ideas, great stuff out there.
All we can do is guess at this point.
Yeah, there's lots of fertile information for stories out there.
But that's science in general, is best guess, and then trying to make everything fit the hypothesis. Yeah, we're all the result of static Kling anyway.
Yeah, like the Big Bang, which is getting a bit of a rough ride at the moment because of the JWST. So,
well, the more that they figure out that it's like the old cliche: the more we know we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why Dr. Manhattan's the other way around, because he just gets to know everything.
Yeah. And then the last page, of course, the camera pulls back even farther.
That must have been the easiest page you drew in this.
Page, yeah.
Get the ink pot out.
Down and ending with a quote by Carl Jung, C.G. Jung. And as far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to kindle a light in the darkness of being of mere being. As far as we can discern, the sole purpose of human existence is to shine a light into the darkness of mere being. From Memories, Dreams, Reflections by C.G. Jung.
Is Carl Jung the one? He's the guy that had the idea that we had a race imagination.
Imagination is what separates us from the other animals.
No, just but basically there was a consciousness. There's a race consciousness, as in like the human race. There's a race consciousness.
Oh, like a unimind kind of thing.
Yeah. There's something underpinning us all, and that we all draw in from that.
Right.
I think he was young. Memory. Was it Young? I think so.
I'm not up on my philosophy. So.
I think there's various experiments that were done on instinctual memory. It's plausible. Bugs have instinctual memory. Humans might. Genetic memory or whatever.
Genetic memory. Yeah. I think he was looking more. I think in the end, because Carl Jung was a psychologist, wasn't he? Jung, and he ended up. He ended up thinking that maybe there was something a little bit more to it than just genetics and matter. There was something else going on, something far deeper. So yeah, interesting stuff.
Did Jung do a bunch of acid?
No, but I may have.
Okay.
There's nothing like chatting with the DMT elves, I tell you.
We end with a series of scraps from the scrapbook of Laurie's mom, including an interview that she gave. It looks
that's
like
a hideous haircut. That.
Playboy, yeah. And it is an older, like World War II haircut.
I like all this extra stuff.
Screen reviews, yeah, just adds again to the plot. Ending with what looks like a Playboy review or Playboy interview. Interview with the 40s glamour girl and the seminar senior side of her crime fighting career. Yeah.
Should that have been steamier?
You know, rape is rape and there's no excuse for it. Absolutely none. But for me, I felt I'd contributed in some way.
Look at what it's called though. Probe profile.
Yeah, probe profile.
This really is a scratch in the underbelly, isn't it?
It is.
It's just incredible.
No, so much research and development in this book.
A lot of thought.
Yeah.
A lot of talent. Just sheer talent. Talent and skill. That's it. Next time. Issue 10.
Ooh.
We come back to Earth, don't we?
Yeah.
Ooh.
We'll get back to that later.
Fabulous.
Fabuloso.
Levi says good morning. He also says, I agree with all this. With all of this, don't try to do something, or don't try and do something else. I've been trying my entire comics career, trying to show people something they haven't quite seen before. Yeah,
that's right. Because, you know, I've written a couple of science fiction novels, as you know, and if I thought, well, it's not going to be as good as Arthur Clarke or Philip Dick, I wouldn't have bothered.
No, exactly.
And I'm not saying they're any good, but I'm just saying that I wrote what I wrote.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'll write what I write, and I'll read Arthur Clarke's stuff because it's fantastic.
That's right. It's like looking at these artists. It's like looking at this work. It's there's no point saying, well, I'm never going to be as good as that, so I won't bother.
Yeah.
You've got to carve your own way. And
it's like I always say, you know, when you pick up a Jack Kirby comic and I think I'm going to throw my pens in the bin, but I never do. I never do.
No. Yeah.
Because there's an imperative inside you. It's like you've got to do it.
Yeah.
That's why, just touch on it. Don't go too far, but that's why it's so sad to see the comic industry in the way that it is at the moment. Yeah. Is because it's filled with people that aren't there just for the comics.
Yeah,
that's the bottom line.
Squeeze it as much as you can.
Yeah, you can talk about money, and you can talk about creativity, and talk about ideology, all that crap. You just put it all to one side. The fact is that the comic industry used to be full of people who loved comics and just wanted to make comics.
Yeah.
And now it's not full of those people. It's not to say those people aren't there, but it's not full of those people anymore. And because of that, it's diluted. And you know, it's just we need to have people who love comics, and that's why we're still doing it. That's why we do what we do, is because we love doing it. And that's why we're not perturbed and put off by the fact that there are geniuses out there who are just so good that you'll never reach their
Can I
standard.
just show you this?
You're supposed to learn from these people, not be intimidated or
exactly
taken aback. Well, you take aback by their talent and skill, but don't let that should inspire you more than discourage.
I just want to show Whiskey this the illusion of depth from one of my illustrations from one of my books.
Oh, sick! That looks amazing.
There you go. Yeah.
I did something similar in one page.
And that one I'm going to show you that one as well.
There you go.
That one, that's lovely.
Yeah, it is amazing.
Nice view up there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Works incredibly well.
Enjoyed that.
Did that panel on this panel here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just reading that text stone.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. I mean, look at that.
So, and again, trying to be as simple as possible. Just not putting too much in there.
Right.
And do the same thing. But I've got some of those pages I've been sketching. So,
look at that.
Oh.
So you get different. I mean, you asked for a bird's eye view here, and that's so I went for that. I had a different idea, but I thought no, I'll stick with it. And this has ended up fine. Again, this is only sketch work. This isn't finished pencils.
Yeah.
But as we go through and the conversation deepens, so you've got like a whole section around the table, and then we slowly move into Cullen and Canoe chatting. Like
you'll be in trouble with that one though, Ross, because you've got the women serving the men.
Well, that's what it's like in the book, so hard luck.
It is. It's exactly what it's like in the book.
Yeah, being sarcastic again.
I know.
Yeah.
And then we zoom in on the conversation between Garner and Cole,
Uh-huh.
and occasionally, like in this bottom right hand corner, picking it out so you can still see the scene.
Yeah.
So that it's not boring, it's not dull. And
just click back.
Yeah.
I love that drinking. Where he's drinking it at the end.
The shot of his hand on the goblet. Yeah.
Just like
fabulous.
So it's getting that trying to get that natural aspect in, and at the same time switching up the angles.
Look at that Buscema last panel, that second panel up that up shot there.
Yeah, it's like straight into the laugh.
Yeah,
that nose.
Straight into the laugh there.
Right.
And then zooming back, so these three panels down here, I haven't done any sketch work here, but this is like you zoom out straight out from the garden so you can see further back into it.
Yeah.
So you're changing the pace of what you're doing there, and then again, this is sort of like this monologue, and then he takes out the band that is going to be on Brill's arm, and then he shows him the jewel in order to win his trust.
Mm-hmm.
So like he's sort of like shifted in his chair so he can look at it, and then he walks away at the end through the gates, and the guy's happy. He's got he's done what he's done. But it's in and out. It's in and out. It's not just mono paced.
I like the way he's getting up there to go.
Yeah, he's just that sort of getting up from his chair. Yeah,
you can see the panel previously how he's leaning back, he's comfortable. He's listening to the guy, and then he's going, and he's halfway out of the chair. Then he's going through the door. Great. But
it's that kind of thing, especially when you're having a conversation, and it is sort of exposition. You've got to keep the interest of the reader visually.
Yeah.
So you've got to flick around with those camera angles. So I'm really pleased with this. It's coming out. This is the work of my life at the moment.
How many pages have you done so far?
Well, I've finished 12.
First chapter.
12,
yeah.
Right.
And I'm now on the second chapter, and I've done up to 21. So I've got another 3 pages.
Just amazing.
Another 3 pages of sketch work, and then I'll go back in and finish it off like this before I ink it up. And then the next few pages are in the dark, going through the streets on horseback.
It's going back.
So it's like it gives you an opportunity to go bonkers with the lighting, as it were. So again, perspective here, looking up through the crowd, and I've cheated here. I have absolutely cheated so that I can get all the heads in and make it work. But you don't kind of notice. And I'm really pleased with how it's all coming out.
How many pages is it going to be in the end?
67 if he sticks to the script. Yeah.
67. Yeah.
Did you hear that, Russ? If you stick to the script, don't you dare deviate, boy.
That's not that is not at all what I'm saying. That we've already discussed that. There's a couple of pages in there that are just wide open for some phenomenal drawing that could go into splash pages very easily. So
he's got his typical writer's head on, Russ. He's dominating your life for 6 months and giving you 1 or 2 pages to do what you want. You know what I mean?
Now you're just pushing it right there. All I did was adapt the story. That's all I did, and it went out to 67 pages.
You guys want to see what the apostate is doing?
Say again?
The apostate.
What about it?
You want to see what I'm doing?
That's your book. Okay, yeah. Go for it.
Okay, hang on a sec here. Let me just throw up. Well, I'm just planning out the storyboard elements, but I got to find OBS Studio, which isn't even on. You can talk amongst yourself. Basically.
Yeah, I took a week a break. I took a week's break to do some storyboarding for a project around the Trolls IP. It was
got to pay the bills, man.
Oh, it did. It did. It paid the bills, so I could get back on and do what I wanted to do.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah. I just got done with a sign job and a T-shirt job. Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, something.
I'll
just show this quick before we start on whiskey. What I did get back this week, I got a file copy back of Doomsday. For Doctor Who.
Oh, cool. Right. Okay.
And I did the pencils and the inks on that.
Right.
Yeah, sweet.
Best page in the book is the.
Is that its own individual publication?
Yeah, no, it came out with. It was a special that they put.
It's going to be inside the Doctor Who quarterly.
Inside the Doctor Who book. Yeah, there you go.
Amazing. Wow. Great. Cool. Hang on. Let's blow that up. Show it again. You can blow that up for the audience here.
Nice.
Oh, look at that, Cyberman,
yeah. So awesome. It was a cowboy Cyberman.
Yeah.
And there you go. It was supposed to be in Hollywood. So there's some horror Spider-Man in there, Cybermen there as well.
Frankenstein,
Dracula, and the Mummy.
Okay, yeah. Cool.
So that's like all the classical. So if we zoom to my page or the below what I'm doing up here. So this is what the apostate is doing. So I'm working out my storyboards through these 3D elements, right? What I'm going to be doing with these 3D elements is there's going to be a bunch of them in different scenes. Imagine if you had it like across the screen page in different sections, different angles, right?
They could be surfing. Yeah.
Each one's going to be a panel. Oh, that's just the ground. But
I
each
know.
And then in the center, I'm going to have the one of the characters in the book, the necromancer. He's casting a spell, but I'm going to use first off, I'm going to write my own I guess language, right? Like write out each letter for runes and stuff for like in the alphabet. And I'm going to use the spells and use the cipher, I guess, to spell out the words of the spells, make them 3D elements, and I can have them crawling along the arms of the character that I put in the central panel here.
Woof.
And then they'll transfer to each individual panel themselves, so they'll like cross the borders and stuff. So he'll like be telling the story and then be casting the spell as the battle's going on, but you can see the different shots. So complicated, but I couldn't do it without 3D elements. I wouldn't.
The grey guy looks like he's working for AIM, doesn't he?
Yeah.
With that head.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great.
Cool.
I did something like that. Here you go. I did something similar like that. We used runes. So when he struck the ground.
Yeah, similar, yeah.
Yeah, when he struck the ground, the runes are actually outside of what he was. So he wasn't saying, the runes just came out as he struck.
Cool.
That was on Interceptor for
Unstoppable
Comics. Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
Is he at Stonehenge there?
Yeah, he's at Stonehenge there. I've got the first. There you go. He's at Stonehenge there. Yeah, they're all ganging up on him.
Amazing. Similar stories to those guys who build the pyramids. They drag those stones 400 miles on logs.
Yeah, apparently.
Theoretically, yeah.
I heard it was leaves.
And then lifted them up.
Yeah. I heard it was leaves, and on occasion, because of the weather, it was the wrong type of leaf, so they had to stop.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's a British train joke for everybody out there who isn't in Britain.
Yeah. The trains were stopped, and the people came out and said that because the wet leaves on the tracks halted the entire train system in Great Britain.
And then because they had the piss taken out of them so bad that the next time they said it was the wrong type of snow. We can't run the trains anymore because it's the wrong type of snow. Okay, I'll sit at home then. See you later. This country.
Our country
we used to rule the world, and now the trains don't run because it's the wrong type of snow.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, exact same here. Whiskey, tell folks how they can find you.
You can check me out on Twitter under Bandnet and Ricochet, or Ricochet, however you want to say it. We do 3D models for stuff. Currently working on a comic book, and we have a tabletop game in development. And yeah, if you need anything made in 3D, like 3D assets, like I just showed you, you can use them in comics. You can, I can get you set up with an action figure, whatever you want. Just send me a message, and I'll get you hooked up.
Rico Chet.
Cool.
Yeah. Russ, tell folks how they can find you.
You can find me down the dojo. During the summer, I can kick head height. It's really good. That's what Alex does here. Yeah. All right. You can find me in the pages of Doctor Who magazine with Doomsday this month. On the continent, I've still got a couple issues left of Batman magazine, and obviously you can find me in the pages of Only Death Can Save Us, original crowdfunded versions on my website. Or you can go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, pick up the first issue. The second volume is incoming, both from New Haven or Viking Press, depending on what name they're going by that day. You can see either way. You can pick them up on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. You can see new bits of artwork or archived artwork over on my Instagram channel. You can sign up for my email list over at my website, so you can find out what's coming up next, including the stuff about the Cole book I'm doing with Randy and Arrow, and all my social media connections. They're all over there on russleach.com. There you go.
Great. Glenn, tell folks how they can find you.
You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, and you can find me on these shows and both the Randy shows on Friday morning and on Sunday, which he'll tell you about. You can get me at New Haven Publishing, and you can order this through Barnes & Noble and Waterstones and all good bookstores. My trips to see Jack Kirby in the late 80s and early 90s, profusely illustrated with photographs of Jack, and I'm in a few of them. Coming soon from New Haven again is the second Hatch book, which is 40 pages of absolutely madness of my little character. And I'm just working on issue 13 of my magazine, Comics Unlimited, which we do interviews with creators. Randy and Russ have been in there. We talk about comics and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, just Google my name and you'll see lots of books. I'm on Amazon with science fiction books and children's books and all kinds of things.
Cool. Folks, I've been your host, Randy Zimmerman. You can find me here on the Indie Comics Network. Friday mornings, 5 a.m., Comics by Night, and Sunday mornings, 9 a.m. for the Sunday Funnies, where we talk about stuff, oddball stuff that inspires us and keeps us working. Not sure what we'll be talking about this Sunday, but it'll be something. So hope you're there. Also, if you go over to aerocomics.store, you can pick up books that I've done, like Calico, which is a property that I've created. It's a high fantasy tale of a talking cat, a elf that likes to collect things, a centaur warrior, and a barbarian fairy, along with a Gandalf-looking character with the gray beard, as they try to put their world back together again. You can also find copies of Herobot Zero over there as well. There's 2 issues available. Second one's got a cover by somebody named Scott Rosema. But the book is a property I'm really happy with. It's a 3-foot tall giant robot as he goes through and fights large monsters in his city, as long as he can do it on the clock and get time and a half or hazard pay. Plus, Paragon's over there. It's a superhero story that, again, I'm very proud of. That's got a great twist ending that I would love for people to read. It's kind of my version of Superman and what would happen if suddenly a superpowered character popped up on a world that hadn't had them before. Also, if you go over to fundmycomic.com and look for the Fool campaign, that's the Fool. It's another property that I wrote that kind of fits into the Paragon universe. It'll all dovetail together eventually. And it's about a rodeo clown type person who goes around and fights street crime with practical joke weapons. And then anybody he ties up for the cops, he takes a section of their clothing as a trophy and incorporates it into his action suit. But anyway, we deeply appreciate everybody watching. We hope you enjoyed it. This was Watchmen 9. Next week, Watchmen 10. So getting closer to being done.
It's getting good.
It's just, hitting the climax of the story. There's a lot more to go through. We hope that you're enjoying going through this as much as we are. And we wish you the best. We hope that you, if you take some time, go back and look at the archives over at the Indie Comics Network or at the Randy Zim YouTube page. We've gone through all of the previous issues of Watchmen. If you haven't watched those up to this point, please catch up. And there's also a lot of other great sequential art that we've gone through and a lot more to come. So go over there and look, subscribe to the channel, and let them know how much you're enjoying Comics by Night. Or tell your friends as well if you think that we're worth the time. So we do this because we love it. We live and breathe this stuff, and we can't not show it to you. And we're hoping that every episode is a couple of hours of good entertainment and learning at the same time as we go over this material and give our insight into this literally touchstone work of sequential art. So, and there's a lot more to come as well. So hope you join us then. Sunday Funnies, on the other hand, we just wander that conversation all over the place. Who knows where it goes? So
I was just thinking that if you had life imitating art or art imitating life, if Scott Rosema, he'd have to draw the Scarlet Pimpernel, wouldn't he?
And until next time, folks, we want to remind you that we all just want a piece of cake.
Yeah.
And anyway, remember, let's see if I got a good quote here. Here's a quote. Groucho Marx, the great Groucho Marx, the secret of life is honesty and fair dealing. If you can fake that, you've got it made. Hello, we must be going. Take care, everybody.
See ya.
We'll see you soon.
We'll
go out with a couple of bumps and our usual warning that our opinions are not necessarily that of the Indie Comics Network.
Too late.
So have a great, if you're in the States, this is the long holiday weekend as we celebrate July 4th and set off a bunch of fireworks and spend a lot of money making things boom.
That's where it all started to go wrong.
I'll be home working. And you're probably right there. I'm not going to argue with that. So, take care, everybody. We'll see you soon.
See ya.
Thanks again for watching Comics by Night. Oh, we didn't even play the opening this time. We just started the show. I forgot all about that. How can we get along with? How can we get by without that? You know,
such a great.
Look, everybody's entitled to be an idiot.
A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit. A bullshit.
All right, everybody. See you soon.
See ya.
The views and opinions expressed within the video content found on the Indie Comics Network are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Indie Comics Network or its sponsors. question or comment for us to address on the show? Have a topic you want us to talk about? Email us at indiecomicsnetwork@gmail.com. Want your comics to arrive in pristine condition? Head over to GeminiComicSupply.com and save 10% on your next Gemini mailer order or anything in the Gemini Comic Supply store. Use coupon code RAGIN10. That's RAGIN 10.
Bye, Jack.
We really shook the pillars of heaven, didn't we, Wayne?
No horse shit, Jack.
No horseshit.